All right, we're back outside. Episode 6. Matthew Lieberman's notes. Matthew Lieberman, author of Social, and fantastic book on the neurochemistry of our brain, the wiring of our brain, and how we form social connections. And we're going to take a look at his work in the context of humor. And yes, I'm still outside. It's too beautiful outside. Too beautiful outside to be inside. Yeah, that checks out. Anyways, default mode network. If you haven't heard of that, that's totally cool. I hadn't heard of it until Matthew Lieberman talked about it. But the default mode network is basically your unconscious, and it's what your brain defaults to when you're not doing anything else. So his book explains the research on discovering the default mode network and how certain pathways of the brain are used when, say, I'm over here doing a task. I have to write a paper, or I am driving, whatever it may be. So I'm actively focused on something. Those, like the parts of my brain that are working on, say, playing the guitar, different parts of my brain are connected. When I stop playing the guitar, the default mode networks returns to the activity returns, and that is when we process social data. So I just had an interaction with a girl that I really like, or you have an interaction with a coworker that you're trying to befriend. It is very important for us to take the time to understand that social interaction, because the default mode network, it has been a part of our evolutionary scheme, our biology, our physiology for thousands of years, and has allowed us as a species to become the way we are, because we spend so much time, we spend comparatively little time actually in the actual interactions, but that outside of the interaction is an exorbitant amount of time that we spend processing all of this social data. What, the way Jane said that to me, what Ron was wearing, or how he carried himself throughout the day during his presentation, etc., etc. You're processing all of this subconsciously and making sense of it in your social world, and that's how we kind of fit our play. We make our way into the social scene. So the unfortunate truth is that we're not giving our subconscious, our default mode network, a lot of time these days. We're taking away the majority of it during the day because of technology. And I'm not a crazy anti-tech guy that's going to tell you to get a flip phone or freaking don't use a computer ever. But it is very important for you to limit your technology exposure, because with all of your time that you spend on social media, I have been guilty of this many a time. But understanding that social media is not a social interaction. Social media is a stimulus, just a consistent little dopamine hit for your brain. So it keeps going, and it's like, oh, that's cool, the like button. I look at my likes. Oh yeah, 20 people like my picture in 20 minutes. Oh man, that's one like a minute. Oh my gosh, that's so cool. Blah, blah, blah. But it doesn't give your brain time to assess the interactions that you've had throughout the day. So maybe you have a job interview. Let's go. Job interview. All right. So a job interview. On your way to the job interview, you're just kind of scrolling through your phone. You're doing whatever. You're just not doing that. You get to the job interview. You do the job interview. It goes in, and then you get back on the train or back in your car, and you're kind of just doing. Or you get home and you're scrolling through your Instagram feed again. I suppose I suggest that rather than doing that, we let ourselves sit. And so we turn our phone off, and we use what Lieberman says about the default mode network, because saying that it might be used to extract these information from the recent interactions that we've had. So, previous calls with this interviewer, you're thinking about it. You're like, you don't have to actively think about it, but you just kind of let it process. You let it sink in. You don't do anything. I just kind of gave away our exercise we're going to do. But anyways, our super top secret, not so secret exercise. So you let it sink in, and you let your unconscious form this understanding of what's going on. Because that's really what it is. It's a putting together the pieces of this social puzzle. So anyways, exercise number 5. I know we didn't have an exercise last video, but we kind of covered it in the first video, so I didn't want to have you doing the same thing. So just refer back to video 1 for that exercise. Exercise number 5. This one is, like I said, the most difficult of all the exercises. That's why I put it last. Don't do anything. That's it. All right, you can do a couple things first, though. Take your phone, put it on airplane mode, silent, do not disturb, whatever you got, and put it way away from you. Other side of the room, outside the room. Plug it in if you have to, and just sit. You can sit in the sun, you can sit in the grass, you can sit in a chair, whatever floats your boat. But just sit and just be. That's all I got. And you don't have to meditate. You don't have to, count your breaths or do any crazy breathing patterns. It's just about, sitting for a minute, sitting for 5 minutes, expanding that time progressively every day. You get up to like 10 minutes where you can just sit and be with yourself and accept that, I am who I am. I know who I am in truth. I know what I am in truth. I know how I serve in truth. I am free. I am free. I am free. That's a really cool mantra that you can use to kind of slow yourself down and be like, I'm here right now. I am here right now. All right. So, recap. Default mode network lets us process things. How do we let it process things? We do nothing. Exactly. All right. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you guys got a whole lot out of this masterclass that, unfortunately, Matthew Lieberman couldn't join us for. And hopefully he'll be with us in the future at some point. But stay tuned, and I'll see you guys later.